Hello and welcome to another edition of the Doncaster Preview Show, this time for Wednesday, the 26th of October. And the first race is over 483 of A4 contest. And I just sided with Jumeirah Smile. It's not a great contest, this by any means. Almost the kind of worst grade they do over the 483 metre trip. Got a good draw, Jumeirah Smile. Not really a winner and hasn't won for 26, can you believe it? But certainly placed a lot. I thought the value's probably gone out of the prices now. Was a 3-1 chance. I did have a nibble at threes, but now around about a 7-4, 15-8, far too short. But if you could get on your exchanges maybe an even money bet for a place, I think that would be a really good bet. Jack's Bandita in 2. That was another one that's frustrating, moving off a tad from box 2. 1 from 21 is the strike rate, mixing it between 450s and 483s. Peggy Tashadelic in trap 3, I must have fallen for her far too many times. Misses the break, shows early pace and doesn't quite come home. Again, probably edging off a little bit. 2 together in trap 4 is probably edging in a little bit. Another one that's been a bit frustrating of late and not a prolific winner by any means. Roy Rovers in trap 5. He'll be moving into the middle of the track, a slow breaker. He's 0 from 16 here at Doncaster as well. That tells the story. About maybe 3 weeks ago, you'd say Middy's Ivan might be the bet here, but his last 2 have been really, really poor. He eased at the halfway stage last week and never took part. So I think at least Jumeirah Smile is in some kind of decent order. So around about the even money mark in the place might be a place bet there on the exchanges. Race 2 is an A2 contest. It's not a strong A2 by any means. I thought the runners were probably 2, 4, and maybe 6. Bring It On Buddy in track 1 is more of a staying type. The 2, there you are now, has got a little bit of early speed and is certainly better than 1 to the bend. Keedy Candy, not firing maybe. Don't think we'll clear. There you are now either. Travella Storm is the interesting runner, and I've probably had a little bit of a nibble on this one. I think we should probably have a small bet, Travella Storm, at around about the 5 or 6 to 1 mark. I made him one of the joint favourites or co-favourites. He's unexposed over this trip. He looked to stay over the 450. So stepping up in trip now has been lame, but the 1720 trial was a decent one for Sean Parker. And so I've just sided with Travella Storm there for small stakes. In the third race, the 643, this is an A3 grade event. Track 1's vacant here. I just favoured Rolo Lotter. I thought the runners were 3 and 4. Rolo Lotter in 4, I think, can just clear Red Brick Boyo. It's not a given, but I just fancy that he will. Red Brick Boyo for Jimmy Gaskin is probably been over bet of late. Has been even money and did oblige in lower grade company. But I thought Rolo Lotter was quite impressive behind an improving Lightfoot Ether last time out. So at around about a 2 to 1 mark, this was the first fair bet of the card. Race 4, I have actually bet a dog in this race, but the price has collapsed now, so I can't really stick this one up as a proper bet. But Trap 2 Rycliffe Cleo looks like she should be able to win this race. She won back-to-back races in B5 and B4. This is a B4, and she hasn't really got a lot to clear in Scarlet Beauty. She's just gone off the ball a little bit, going wrong out of a season. She's 8 weeks out of season now. Val Blonde, this one always seems to be shorter than I make it in trap 3. Bit of a one pacer, does stay on. Billy's Ditch, I keep thinking this one will start to improve at some stage in 4. Kramer could be the danger. I think I'd have a saver, and I have had a saver on trap 5 at around about the 6 to 1 mark. And Ross Temple Burke couldn't clear Kramer last time they met. So I was 2 on top of 5 here. So if you can get anywhere near sort of 2 to 1 Rycliffe clear, then do have a bet. I'd suggest half a point bet, and then just get your money back with a saver on trap 5 Kramer. It's race 4. In the 5th to 718, we're going over the 450 metre trip here. I thought this was a really, really tough race. I made it 7 to 2 the field. Splash Dash Ernie in track 1, a youngster for Sean Parker. Looks like he could win a race quite soon, but he's missing his break and then pacing and not quite coming home. So if he was allowed to dominate, you might put up an improved effort. And Dinah Rose in trap 2 will move into the middle. Bring It On Madison's always a good starter. That one's edging in, so I think 2 and 3 are drawn the wrong way around. Franey Delight's a bit of a one pacer. 4 Bandit, quite like the effort last week. He was more of a chasey type, and he got up on the line. He did lurk across, but he could frame up here, as could Superstar in trap 6. She's coming right out of season. I think she's a better bitch out of 6, and she switches to the stripes here. 14 weeks out of season, she could put up a big performance here from a decent makeup. But I wasn't really keen to have a bet particularly, but I might even I might even lay Dinah Rose in trap 2 if short, around about the 2-1, 7-4 mark. The 6th race is a 7:36, and this is a play race for me. Afton Asia has been off the card, a bit on and off the card, but I thought ran all right last week. Was 3rd behind Runtel Sally, and Barnside Bonnie, the next door neighbour here in trap 2, is the other runner, was just in front. But Barnside Bonnie's got a terrible habit of walking out the boxes. Afton Asia would have cleared Barnside Bonnie if not getting trouble and getting shuffled back through the pack. Nettis Turbo in track 1 is probably going to lead, but just going through the motions and not coming home at all. Leatham's Mario's another one that could be prominent, but he's not turning the bend. He's been off 21 days. You could get a bit of improvement out of him, but I'd have to wait and see him run a much better race before I parted with any cash. Swift Emphasis in track 5 is slow away and getting outpaced. Bandit Bolt's an interesting runner. He's dropped in grade. He didn't run that great last time, but he has got an ease in grade. He does stay more than anything else, but he can smash out the boxes and turn in the pitch. But I think really for me, it's a play between 3 Afton Asia, around about a 5-2, 3-1 mark was earlier on, and then maybe just save the stake on Barnside Bonnie. The race 7, a tough race again, another 7-2, the field race for me. Mad About Chap's got a chance to lead on the inside. Did lead Hello Kiara, the next door neighbour, the drawn identically last week. Blakeside Arms put up a bit of a spirited effort last week's up in grade mind, but had a layoff and came back and won in lower grade. Civil Jack continues to run well, slow breaker running on. Dawn's Delight's got a drop in grade, and she can smash the bars down and get into the contest here. And might cause a few problems for Free Inside, who I think always seems to be the better dog than Civil Jack, and he's more of a stayer. I was thinking about framing up Free Inside, but in the end, it was a no-play race in the 7th. Moving on to the 8th race, and I do like this race because we've got some unexposed greyhounds. We were successful with our Deratobi last week, but he's got a 2-grade hike. But he has got a good draw here because Gemma Pops is tight to the fence in red. Boss Girl's in 2, she goes straight for the rails. So our Deratobi in 3's got a really good makeup despite the 2-grade uplift, and he is open to improvements. Very, very green, despite being July 20. He's not had a lot of miles on the clock by any means. But the main selection is track 4, Runtel Johnny. This greyhound is really improving for Kelly Tobin. On August 20, won 6 from 23 now, and 3 out of his last 4. So he's a dog on the upgrade. Kid Yo-Yo is a bit of a one-pacer. Turkey could be a danger if smashing out and turning in the pitch, because it basically is a stayer. But I think he's got a bit of a thorn in his side with Kid Yo-Yo to clear on the run to the turn. But class-wise, definitely got a chance, the 6. But at the prices, I was with Runtel Johnny in 4 on top of track 3, Ardera Toby. The next race, race 9, is a B6. It's a 5-dog race, track 1 again vacant. Blanemore Fitzy in trap 2 just had the 1 start and was balked at the break last week and couldn't really get a run, but did show flashes of ability, and I wouldn't mind betting that this dog will come forward pretty soon. Hawkfield Wisdom is too short for me. Got a great chance to lead. Not all the ticket, bit quirky, but has got a bit of early dash. Swift Radner opposite is a slow breaker running on late. Blistering Star likewise. Not really got a lot of early, is more of a chasey type. One for Coco put in a much better effort last time out. Shows a bit of early, cuts the bend, but only just gets home. So if getting a good break might just give Hawkfield Wisdom, it could end up a bit of a tussle between the pair of them, and then a stag could get in the contest. But again, I didn't really like the race, and Hawkfield Wisdom is far too short. Rather back it at a big price than the short price on offer. On to the sprints then, the 10th race. This is almost a D1, this, a really good D2 contest. I just sided with Penny's Candy and backed her around about 5-1 earlier on, but she's been smashed right the way into 5-2. So I made her about a 3-1 chance. So if she does drift out at 3-7-2, then you can have a little interest. Unblinkered in trap 6 runs a real solid race generally. She smashes out, moves middle and cuts the bend. So I wouldn't want that to happen just to chop off Penny's Candy at the first turn. That has happened before, by the way. Definitely drawn the wrong way with Cornwall Blakey in 5. He wants to be in 6 really, and has been running well, but this is a much tougher assignment for his hat-trick bid. Ballybuck Brook in 3 is running all right, but doesn't always come out the traps. Not So for Vase likewise is a slow breaker, but has got ability and coming back from a bit of a layoff. And Canturk Blue quite unexposed, but I couldn't see this one really clearing into the turn. So it is a real top race, probably stakes to a minimum, and a small bet on Penny's Candy in trap 1. The 11th race, I thought this was massive 2 runners, but probably priced accordingly now. Milo Pippin walked out the traps. I really fancied her last week, but she was a bit crabby on the bend with traffic around, and I don't really see too much traffic here if she gets a half sensible break. So she would probably side to be the selection. I do like Racket or Vicky as a greyhound in 6, but she wasn't that great last week after wobbling at the bend a little bit and not quite driving between the turns. Has had a 21-day break, an 11-day break. So there obviously has been a little bit of an issue. If I didn't have that in my mind still, I probably would be head down on Racket or Vicky and just save on Milo Pippin. But the prices are pretty short, and I can't see a world of value in the 11th, but they would be the 2 runners. In the 12th, this is a really good race, quite a competitive event. Again, a 3 the field race for me. It's a D2, but it's not quite as a higher class D2 as the other one. But again, reasonably competitive. I just sided with Run Tell Nana in trap 5 to get first jump on the field. On the booze, he's running well. Didn't clear Classic Quattro last time. They're drawn the same again. That is the Achilles heel for On the Booze. Got enough ability to be competitive in the race, but it's whether she can get that better break. The selections then, let's take a look. There you go. Got more playing races, and there's no real naps on the card. 628, I've been tempted in. Track 4, Travilla Storm at a 0.1, just a real small bet, but a juicy price, 6-1. Probably one of the best bets on the card, 643, Track 3, Rolo Lotto, half a point at 2-1. In the 736, I'm going to play Afternasia at around about the 11-4 mark and just save on Barnside Bonnie just in case she decides to go on with a job. And in the 817, Track 4, Run Tell Johnny to get first run on the field at around about a 4-1 chance, and then save on Ardera Toby as well, capable of improving. Hope we get a few winners. It wasn't too bad in the last couple of meetings, and we'll see you soon.